Brooke says, can a narcissist change? Can their toxic traits rub off on you or just bring out your own toxic traits? So there's, I mean, that's a huge topic. that's a huge topic to talk about. And can people change? I think that just about anybody can change. There's these different things out there that they talk about, right? Which are like personality types and different types of traits that are types. And types are traits that are supposedly things that can't change in people's personalities, that are fixed. They're never going to change. Nothing's going to happen that's different about them. But I've even seen those things change, right? So can narcissists change? Yes. Will narcissists change? That's another question. And usually the answer is no. And that's the same for everybody with everything. Will most people change with anything? The answer is no. They've actually done a lot of research on this. There's a book that came out a while back. It was called Change or Die. And in this book, they talk about these people that have lifestyle issues, lifestyle problems, right? Where they're going to die if they don't change their lifestyle, right? Like smoking or overeating or eating the wrong foods or whatever. And the doctors sit them down and they go, hey, if you don't change your lifestyle habit, if you don't stop smoking, if you don't change your eating habits, if you don't, do this, you will die. And so they measured what the percentage of people who changed over a long-term period of time were. And what they found is that 90% of people, when faced with death, when they're like, hey, you're going to die if you don't change, they did not change. 90%. Think about that, right? In the face of death, would not change. And so can a narcissist change? I'm sure they can. Can their toxic traits rub off on you? Absolutely. And if you're with them, it's something that we call co-toxic. And co-toxic is a term that says that you're kind of enabling and allowing this toxic behavior, and by keeping this person in your life. And if you come from a place of really valuing yourself highly and coming from a place where you want to be healthy and strong and you want to have a great relationship, you just won't let toxic people in your life in the first place. That's the ideal scenario. And if can they bring out your own toxic traits? Absolutely. That will almost certainly happen, right? And it depends on what you're talking about with narcissism as well, because there's kind of this disorder that's called narcissism, which is NPD, right? Narcissistic personality disorder. But there's also kind of this classical version of narcissism, and most people get those all mixed together. And almost everybody has narcissistic traits, right? And so narcissistic traits don't necessarily mean that you're going to be toxic or that you're going to be bringing out toxic traits in others, or that you're going to be hurting people or any of that kind of stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean that, because almost everybody in the world has narcissistic traits, right? They're normal things that most people in the world have. And so there's a bunch of questions there, but my suggestion is that if you're with a toxic person at all, whether he's narcissistic or whatever, is that you really question whether you actually want to be with them. And if you do, you might want to question whether you should stay with them right now. Because if you think that you should be with this person, you may be coming from a toxic mindset that's making you co-toxic with this person. And so what you want to do is pull yourself out of the situation for a while. Give yourself a couple months of being outside of the situation where you can start getting a clear grasp on who you are and what's going on, and start refocusing and re-looking at this situation and going, do I really want to be a part of this? Because if you pull yourself out and then you look back at it, you're almost certainly going to be like, Yeah, I don't know that I really want to go back to that. Right? That was a painful, toxic, just a horrible thing to be in. And I don't know if I want to be there anymore. So I hope that answers your question there, Brooke.